I've been listening, Lieutenant.
Yeah, yeah,
And I'll tell you, when I was young at school, many years ago, I had a Jewish friend in Bahrain, this is,
yeah.
and I was very friendly with her. And I've just reconnected with her through another friend. I managed to find her phone number. She lives in UK now. And so I reconnected with her, and she was telling me that when the Six-Day War happened in Israel, um, that somebody phoned the leader of the Jewish community in Bahrain and said to him, can all the girls or all the children which are at school stop coming to school because we don't want them in school anymore. She told me this now. I didn't know about it. I knew that she stopped coming to school.
Right.
So they did. She's another word. Her education was curtailed because she was only what 13, 14, and she had another 3 years to go before she finished her education in Bahrain, and she couldn't do it. She couldn't do it anymore. So she had to find other ways of being, doing some education. She did typing and shorthand and did other things, and eventually they realized they can't really live in Bahrain anymore, so they moved out and came back to UK to live here. So there are some Jews in Bahrain now, but there's only about 30 of them. Or she was telling me actually it's only 15, even less than 30.
Wow.
Yeah. But there was a quite sizable community. They have their own synagogue, and as it happened, when I went walking around in the market area in Bahrain, I did actually come across a synagogue there, and it's all been renovated and looks, and it's got a big notice on it saying it's a synagogue, Jewish place of worship, and it's there, and I think people can go and visit it now, but it goes back to what you were talking about, stereotypes, that we group people into categories, and we allow them to be part of our world or not. And we do that, if you like, we all do it. Um, we see somebody with a certain kind of appearance and we categorize it because that's how our brain works, I think. Um, And the
Yeah.
other thing I want to say is, have you ever noticed that people would look at you and you straight away are being categorized, and straight away people don't want to talk to you anymore? Have you
Oh,
ever
yes.
noticed that?
Yes, I have been on the receiving end of that. Yes.
Yeah.
For a number of different reasons. I think some people have one stereotype in mind about me.
Mm-hmm.
They would judge me
Mm-hmm.
on my appearance and possibly
Mm-hmm.
put me in the benefit street
Mm-hmm.
box, right?
Mm-hmm.
When I've not been looking my best and my clothes haven't been that good. I've been unkempt,
Mm-hmm.
while my mental health was that bad. It really was impacting my appearance as well.
Yeah.
The malnourishment and all the rest of it. So I was put into that um,
Mm-hmm.
no hope,
Yeah.
got no education, got no ambition, got nothing
Mm-hmm.
going on upstairs in the head kind of
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
category. And there's times where I've been put in a box because of my skin color or my nationality. Like
Mm-hmm.
when I'm in the Netherlands, the way I was treated sometimes was, I've faced some hostility from some of the Dutch people because
Gosh.
of stereotypes that they have in mind. And I've found that was, there's so-called British expat
Mm-hmm.
communities in the
Mm-hmm.
Netherlands, and in that particular place, there's two provinces. There's North Holland and South
Mm-hmm.
Holland, and the
Mm-hmm.
part that I was working in was like on the border of those two provinces. So some of the towns were in North Holland, some of the towns were in South Holland, But all around that area is where you've got a lot of British expats living and working, and a lot of them cause trouble.
Ah.
So I was put into that same category. Yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
was one of
Mm-hmm.
those who was working in the same industry, living in the same areas, but I wasn't causing trouble,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
you know. So for the Dutch people living in that area, what they've seen come out of most of expats over many years, and what they're sick to the back teeth of, and they were already being overrun with other kinds of immigrants as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they had these stereotypes in mind that would safeguard them against the people who were there causing trouble. But it was
Mm-hmm.
unfortunate that it wasn't managed as well as it could have been, because I myself and others who were there that weren't causing trouble were being discriminated against because of that group that were
Mm-hmm.
causing trouble. So, because of the individuals with those stereotypes in mind, mainly just wanting to safeguard themselves and their families and their communities. So, from a good place, they were wanting to safeguard everything,
Yeah.
but they didn't have this awareness of stereotypical thinking, I think,
Mm-hmm.
and thus they weren't managing it. And I myself am guilty of that as well.
Yes, yes, of course.
you know
I
um
think,
i, I don't want to be like sitting going on about, oh yes, I've been on the receiving end of this, that and the other, and
mhm,
oh how
mhm.
saintly I am. Au contraire, I think we are all guilty of this.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, of course, I kind of find it in myself as well, because what we do is we prejudge. We look at a person, and that's what prejudice is. You prejudge a situation just to protect yourself initially, really. Like the story that you were telling about, you see hoodies, you are aware that they might be problems, so you go to the other end of the street, to the other side of the road, and then turn back to the right side again after passing them, avoiding them, another word. Um, but I think for me, as you become aware of this, then you have to positively work against it. And so if you think negatively of somebody, to think positively of them, and try to relate to them in a positive way. And the other thing which I find, sometimes people categorize, if you see certain groups of people, you categorize them as the the right kind of people. You know what I mean? So you can prejudge them as the good people to be associated with.
Yeah.
And that
Yes,
not might not be true, might not be true either. It's
absolutely. Yes. I
Can I
have an
add something?
example. Yeah, sorry, go
Just
ahead.
want to ask, when you're like kids, before you're teenage, when you're children, I don't think you think that way, though, right? I don't think when you don't think like you know when you're tiny, you don't think. It's almost like it's not part of the paradigm.
Yeah, I think that would come with the fact that your brain hasn't received that much data yet
But it's
to
like,
be
yeah,
able to
yeah.
develop these boxes, if you like, these pigeonholes, these
but it's strange you tell
stereotypes.
but like when they say the innocency of it, right, and the purity. I don't know. It's strange how it all gets corrupted after 12 or 13. It is strange.
Is it corrupted per se, though? Is it not
Well, I
just
mean, you
part
don't
of the?
you
Is
don't
it
think
not
of
just part of the natural development?
no, but you don't think like misogyny, racism, against straight, lesbian, gay, and bi. Or you don't think of Islamophobia or anti-Judaic, anti-Christian. You don't when you're you don't those things aren't even in your mind. You're living in the
Yeah.
spirit so much. It's so carefree.
I think you're right. I think Lieutenant is quite right as well. It's when you become about 12 or become aware of yourself and your position in society, then you start having these categories and these pigeonholes.
No,
And
but
they
you
go,
could say then the bad thoughts come in. some, the door's open to these bad thoughts.
It might not be bad, it might be necessary.
Well, yeah, all right.
Yeah, I agree, because we can't go down the black and white thinking way of things, whether something's good or bad, right? That typically leads to needing some CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, right? But like we were saying earlier, Ravioli, and like what Nagar and I have give examples of, what can be a negative stereotype in one moment, that same stereotype could be life-saving in a different scenario. So is it worth trying to eradicate the stereotype, or just managing it per moment, per situation? Now, we've got a message in the live chat from Lord Justice that I've highlighted. I find this important because it goes back to your question, Ravioli, which I think is very important about, children don't have these issues of stereotypes. And Lord Justice says maybe children have less stereotypes because they live in the moment.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's, it's the spirit in there, or the energy the moment, it's different. But it's like, I don't know what it is, but the ignorance is, they're free of it. It seems, I don't know, but it's just how it changes. As I think the guy said, maybe when you become aware of yourself, and that becoming aware of oneself is where I think the danger, I know, the door open to trouble begins. But I don't know if that sounds right or not. I don't know.
I think actually, Rupert, you become aware not just of yourself, but you become aware of yourself within a community. You assess your position within this community, either at school or at home, if you have brothers and sisters, or within a bigger family, or if you belong to a sport club or anything, you kind of assess your own position within this group of people, and gradually you have to find your way around, because you have to find your way around in society. Before, when you're a child, first of all, you're centered within yourself, and you're gradually getting to relate to other human beings and learn how to relate to them.
Yeah, as someone said in the chat, Tina 6936, some is learned in childhood, and some from personal experience. Behavior reactions can also be unconscious. It's interesting that it could be unconscious. Behavior and reactions can also be unconscious. So something's going on at the sub and conscious level. That's just, things are happening even in those levels of it. But yeah, I don't know. It's all, I don't know. I don't really know what to think.
Okay. I think we've had a great discussion. We've been looking at like the positives and the negatives, and we've looked at our own experiences, which I think it's important for us to draw on. People in the audience can relate to these things, I'm sure, as well. It's very thought-provoking.
Smooth moderator. Smooth moderator. Smooth moderator.